Welcome to the Talkin Trash Addiction Recovery Podcast. We suffered in silence. Now we recover out loud.
Good evening, Talkin Trashers. Welcome to the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock news at 9. I'm your anchor, Seymour Buttkiss. That's my name. My name's Seymour Buttkiss. You get it?
I do.
Yeah. We are reporting from the Lancaster, Pennsylvania Waffle House Horse and Buggy Emporium, where your poop is your problem. Here we are talking trash. We're
loaded from the rear.
25. We're doing our thing. What's going on? I don't know. I don't know what to do. What do I say now? What does Jimmy usually do?
Jimmy says that now let's hand it over to the producer of the show, Jimmy Starter. I don't know.
Hi, everybody. I'm not the same guy that introed. Welcome to 225. Hey, we have a fun show tonight. I'm in a fucking mood. We're doing good stuff. We have friends. Things are good. And Larry is coming into the mix here, and we brought him in. Hi, Bethany. Hi, honey.
Hey, girl.
We brought Larry in as he's like a mentor to people, but we're going to be one of the team as we do this. Tonight we're going to get to know him a little bit. We're going to get to see what his history was about, how he got to where he was at today, and why he even cares about our stupid asses. And he does, and he's an awesome advocate. So let's bring him in. I mean, you know what? Anybody who wants to be a part of this thing can be a part of this. We'd prefer you to have some letters after your name or be Larry. But, send in your resume. We'll see what happens. All right, our preamble, and then we'll meet the team.
Recover out loud.
This is our humble broadcast, where ethics and personal anonymity are of the utmost importance. We run this podcast as an act of service to those whose lives have been affected by addiction. We don't do it for profit or notoriety. We place principles before personalities. We benefit from this podcast just as much as anyone else. We all work programs and choose to sacrifice our own anonymity to spread the word that recovery is possible. We do this thing in an attempt to show, as living examples, that no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That's the 9th step promise. It's our creed we abide by here on Talkin Trash. We feel called to uphold AA and NA principles. We firmly believe that you can only keep what you have by giving it away. Please join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer.
God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
All right, let's recover out loud, mofos.
Yeah, baby.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna meet the team of the Trash Talk and Talk.
Huh?
Talkin Trash.
You're talking like me now. Backwards.
What do you think? Bradley Mansfield. Bradley, he curses a lot, but he is coming up on 4 years sober. He has become an anchor around these parts. Bradley, we love you. You do a great job. Thank you for what you do.
Thank
Jimmy
you.
Leibel, he is servicing the youth in the prison tonight. Shut up, Will. He's doing service work, and he misses a show here and there, but that's Jimmy. Shut the fuck up. Next on deck is Will Douglas. Hi, Will. Willie D in the place to be. He keeps it real, and he's got the appeal. Willie D.
Hey,
Coming up on 3 years.
Come on.
Clean and stabobber. Let's see. Who else we got? Little Timmy Snipe. I run the show. I built the show. I do it all, but it's not me. It is you. So, here we
That
go.
sounded real
You guys
cheesy.
ready? Oh, big announcements. We are adding two team members to the mix. Liz and Larry. First on deck is Liz McKeon. You may have met her before. I'm sure you did. She has signed an entry level contract. She'll be back on August 23rd. She's a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
We need it,
Part
man.
of the team. We brought her in because we need some advice. But the big one is Larry. Larry is here tonight. That's why it's the big one. Liz will be the big one. She's here. Larry Foster, ladies and gentlemen. He is a beauty. Everybody's got a Larry story. Everybody knows Larry. So what we're gonna do as we introduce him to the team is we're gonna take a look at what Larry does. Larry puts out this thing called Larry's Lament, which is actually pretty fucking good. I read it every day, but I don't like anything because I can't like everything, so I don't like anything. But I do read it every day, and it's like Larry's a writer at heart. You can hear. But what we'll do here is we'll take a look at Larry's Lament for today, and then bring Larry in and get her going and mix it
Get her
up.
done.
There's Larry. His lament is coming up. Larry's lament. Jimmy, get the fuck out of here, Jimmy. Brad loves Larry's lament. Let's read it real quick. Larry is a new part of the team. I want to make you feel welcome. He says, hello out there in Riderland. Good morning, campers, and welcome to this week's edition of Wacky, Wild, and Woolly Wednesday. The day this week when I will excuse myself from the Zoom meeting to participate in Talkin Trash Recovery Podcast. The spiritual principle of the day is service, a helpful activity for the benefit of others. In recovery, when we talk about service, we share our experience, strength, and hope with others so that they may benefit from our common problems. This doesn't just apply to addictions. It can and should be used in every facet of our lives. Some of the most valuable lessons I have ever learned about anger came from an individual who shared his experience with anger and how he overcame it. It is not that everything I was doing was wrong, but it allowed me to look at what someone else had done. This allowed me to develop more tools to use when and if necessary. Have a safe day. And that is our guy, Larry. That's it. Larry in the house. Welcome to Talkin Trash again. Larry, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
We're happy you're here.
Yeah.
What's going on, boys?
Living the dream, boys. Living the dream.
Yeah.
That's right.
Will,
The
what are you
hot,
doing?
Nice
you
and
look,
sweaty dream.
You seem hot. Like you're like you've been hot all day. Like you've been
No,
sweating.
I mean, I'm always hot. I mean, what can I say? But no, I mean, like as soon as I walk, I mean, it's like I change my clothes like a couple times a day because I mean, like it
I know you do.
You
Like, fucking
man,
animal.
Like, I can't let it re-dry out again. Like I mean, like the third or fourth time, if it
Re-dry
re-dries
out
up on myself, I'm like, it gets a little stanky.
Let's say hi to the peeps. Hi, Jenny from the block. Rob Vargo just declared a jihad on. Okay, General Sound. B-Rad, it goes right over Larry's face. What a great production. Bethany, everybody's out there. I love you guys too. Hey, T, what's happening, T? T's coming up on 10. Everybody. Blair will be on the pod soon. Yup. Everybody's having a good time. So anyway, let me stop real quick. So we have added Larry Foster and Elizabeth McKeon, not to staff because there really isn't staff, but like just to the mix. Just outside eyes that have a say.
Even resources and medical, huh?
That keep us, pretty much. I look at the whole thing as a clinical thing, but Liz will be in a couple of weeks. But they're awesome. Like these are people we found throughout our stumbling journey of making a podcast. That these people are awesome. Liz, I trust with my life clearly, and Larry, I take his advice like it's law. So we take a look at the whole team real quick first. Liz McKeon, she is a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. We'll read all this stuff when she comes on, but she's awesome. She will be here soon. But the man of the hour is Larry Foster. Larry's a longtime recovery advocate whose journey began in 1985. He spent more than 3 decades working for CN Rail as a trainman, conductor, and locomotive operator, following in the footsteps of generations behind him. Throughout his career, he became actively involved in supporting recovery initiatives in the workplace and helping others navigate their own recovery challenges. I am so tired of hearing myself talk, so what we'll do here is we'll move right along here. Larry's in the house. So we have Larry here, right? So we want him to be comfortable, but we don't want him to feel, what all that shit with a new guy.
Larry.
Larry.
Larry's in the house. I'm going to yield the floor a little bit to you, Larry. We just read your thing. I'm going to let you kind of make your statement here on Talkin Trash, and then we'll all jump in and get her going. But
I don't even know where to start. My history, I came from like a middle-class family, blue-collar family. Never really drank. I had my first serious drink at about 15. It was harvest time in Saskatchewan, and it was a bumper crop. And I was working with 2 friends of mine building grain bins as fast as they could fill them up with combines.
yeah,
And supper came out into the field, and I sat down and had supper with them, and with it came a beer. And it was the first time that I ever felt accepted or that I fit in. And then it just went on. I probably didn't drink a handful of times until I turned 19. And when I turned 19, it wasn't really until maybe 5 or 6 months after that, I started working on a road construction group or company, and they drank every day. That was the start of my everyday drinking, and that carried on from probably May of 1972 until 1985. During that time, I drank away an education. I drank away a marriage. I just about drank away my job. If it hadn't been for the programming CN had, I'd have been fired. And then it started. I just sobered up. I haven't, and this is something I want to make clear, is I haven't had a drink or drug recreationally since January 25th, 1985. You can't remember your last drink, you haven't had it. Well, I can remember every detail of it. But the thing is, I am that 1 in 100,000 that hasn't drank or used drugs, but I have literally turned worlds upside down sober.
yeah,
I found out that I was not crazy, that I was an alcoholic, which was just monumental for me. But I didn't know. It took me a long time to figure out that there was something else. And I'm going to be very honest with anybody that's listening, new in the program. I went 27 years in a dry drunk, not realizing what was missing. That's where my story really starts. Like we're talking on Sunday, March 12th or March 11th, 2012, I was diagnosed with cancer. The next morning at 9:15, a Monday morning, I got a phone call from the woman who runs her own Prairie Sky Recovery. And after about a 15-minute conversation, I stopped her and said, "Are you offering me a job?" And she said, "Yes." So I explained some things that I was doing, and she said, "No, be here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I said, "Great." So I went out, and the first question I asked her is, "Why me?" Out of all the people she knew, and she'd been sober for about 28 years, why was I the one that she picked? And "You were a fit." I didn't understand that. Yeah. And then she turned me loose. She said, "Make it better." Okay. So about a year into that working there, my job was to provide relief for the 12-step counselor and the person that was facilitating the emotional wellness program at the time. And I thought it would be pretty interesting if I sat through the emotional wellness program to figure out what it was, so that I understood a little bit of it when it was my turn to present, which was coming up. So I walked in and sat down and sit in a corner, like all the good alcoholics do, so no one's behind you. Yeah. And I sat back and I was listening. And that was the particular day that they started working on how low self-esteem develops. And this woman read one page, and I stopped her. And she looked at me, and I said, this is it. This is my problem. This is what I couldn't figure out for 27 years. It was all about my opinion of me. She smiled. And I went from sitting in the corner of the room to sitting on her immediate left for the next 5 weeks. I did the entire program. And that's when I really started to understand a lot of things. Like, I can remember early in my recovery, one of the older gentlemen, and I recovered with a bunch of, with a whole group of World War II veterans who never talked about how they felt. They never talked about emotions. And one of the gentlemen said that he was messed up long before he ever started to drink. And that lit me up. I just sort of, and that was when I got involved in all of this stuff. And then about a year later, Ardith asked me if I wanted to take over the emotional wellness program. And she literally turned me loose until she passed. And she had all kinds of confidence and turned, like I said, literally turned me loose. And we produced what, in my opinion, is one of the best emotional health and wellness programs that's being offered. And it's constantly morphing because the information we get is constantly morphing. Right. But one of the things that I did through the whole process was I based everything that I taught or everything that I facilitated or spoke about was based on my life. It was what I'd experienced.
Right.
And I think that's what made connection with an awful lot of people. It was my life that I was talking about as I was developing this. Right. And like I would come in and be sitting down and have some, and there was a young guy from Winnipeg walked in one day, and he was been sober for about 3 days. He walked in, talked for about 10 minutes and turned my entire recovery around because I had to look at it differently. I think that's one of the gifts that everybody should have, is the ability to listen to what other people have to say.
Yeah.
But I went through, my recovery journey involved, like we always talk about intergenerational stuff, or you hear about intergenerational things. And my family, on my mother's side, the intergenerational trauma that they suffered from was shame. And that carried on all the way through. And one of the questions I asked is, when I finally found out about all this stuff, I was completely, how can I not understand this? How could I have not seen it? Yeah. And a very smart individual, we were talking about it, and he said, because not only you wouldn't be able to handle what you were finding out, but your parents. Like if I were to tell my mom and sit down and explain to my mother how the way she raised me had affected me, I would have blown her right out of the water. I don't know what effect that would have had. So I was given the blessing, if you want to call it a blessing, to learn this after her and my father had both passed. And the only thing I had to do after that, I had to talk to them. So I wrote my parents a letter explaining what I'd learned about myself and how I was raised had affected me without blaming them. And I went to the cemetery and read it to them. It was the only way I could free myself of that. Like it's a tough thing. And I went through, I think one of the best stories that I have when we talk about stuff like this was, I'm going to say it was Thanksgiving 7 or 8 years ago at my house. I was downstairs riding on an exercise bike. And I know you guys
liar
are sitting back going, how can you possibly get on an exercise bike? But I was downstairs, and one of my granddaughters was down with me. And I've got a house full. I got 19 people in my house. And my middle son walks up to my mom, my wife, and says, "Where's Dad and Alana?" "Oh, well, they're downstairs." "Well, what's Alana doing down there?" "Oh, her and Dad are playing or something. I don't know." And he looked at her and said, "He never played with us like that." And her, being a shooter, said, "Ask him when he comes up." So about half an hour later or whatever, I come up and sitting down. I laid out a great big plate of Thanksgiving. I got turkey and all the trimmings, and I'm ready to start filling my pie hole.
Mm-hmm.
My wife looks at him and says, "How come you play with our kids different than you played with us?" Like you said, you never played with us.
Yeah.
So I thought for a couple minutes, and I finally said to him that in my early recovery, the first 27 years, and I'm going to say early recovery, that sounds stupid, but
No, I get
the
it.
first 27 years of my recovery, I didn't know some stuff about me. And I did things simply because being sober was not enough, but it's all I had. And I realize now that what I did, I messed up your lives. Like sometimes the greatest gift sober that I could give my kid's birthday was to not be home. That's what kind of a grouch I was. That's just what I was. And when I looked at him, I said, what I'm doing with your kids is showing you that I now understand what I did wrong, and I'm showing you how I should have raised you, which I have to visualize is an industrial painter who paints tanks. I got a rig hand, and I got a track operator. You can't get a whole lot more blue collar than that.
Not really, no.
And all of them just looked at me and nodded. Okay, we're happy with that. And now, when my wife and I say to them, drop your kids off at the lake for a month. My kids barely slowed down when they got there.
Oh my God.
The kids are out, they're safe, away we go, we're gone.
I would love that. I would have loved that, yeah.
That's one of the gifts that I've been given because of my recovery is grandchildren, that I can show people what we should have done. My wife and I have raised 3 of our grandchildren. Due to circumstances, we raised them, fed them, clothed them, simply because we had to. There was nothing else to do. And that's all part of the recovery program. But it's taking into account that everybody has a problem. Everybody has issues.
Yeah.
And if we can figure out that we probably have the same issue, we have compassion for them. And we can take it and give ourselves that kind of compassion and go with it. I was thinking when we were talking earlier a couple days ago, I was talking about topics. And one of the things that came up with me was, what was the greatest gift you've been given in recovery? And you go through the whole list, and it's sobriety and family and blah, blah.
Yeah.
For me, it's all of that. But I think the most valuable thing I've been given is a spiritual contact with my Creator. Someone more powerful than me that I can rely on to be there regardless of how I think of myself or what I've done. And he's come in handy.
Yeah.
When I talk about doors closing and doors opening, I've been through a tremendous amount of things. And the amazing thing is, I'm sitting here doing this.
Yep.
And this was never even on a bucket list. If you'd have talked to me 5 years ago and said, this is what you're going to be doing on like every third or fourth Sunday, along with all the other things that you do, I'd have called bullshit.
Yep.
But
me
my
too.
higher power keeps putting things in front of me. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. None. I just follow the doors. Because I don't need to know what's going to happen next.
Right.
I just want to go out and enjoy and be remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you say that, Larry. So for me, like I don't know if that's humility or something that I've learned along the way, but before I always wanted to know why something was happening or what was going on. And like, I needed an answer for everything. I don't know if that was my control aspect of life or how that was for me. But now I love that you said that, because I try to live my life that way. I'm not saying I do it every day, and I try my best, but I don't need to know why things are happening. I just have to know that somebody, and I use my mother for my higher power. Mm-hmm. And I use that, and I've been using that since I started getting into the spiritual, figuring things out. But I just know that somebody more powerful than myself is taking care of me. And once I've learned to accept that and just understand that, I don't need to know the answer. So that was a struggle for me, though, at first. You know what I mean? It's like, why is this happening? Why am I doing this? What's going on? And now, I shouldn't say I don't give a shit, because I do, but I just know that whatever is happening, it's happening for a reason, and it's going to work out however it works out, and I can't control that. And so what a peaceful feeling to let that go.
Let's take a moment and read Daily Reflection.
Daily Reflections is an AA-driven enterprise of some sort. It's not ours, but we like you long time. Let's read Daily Reflapjacks here on the Talkin Trash Pod Flaps.
Pod Flaps! Oh, look at this. Daily Reflection. It is the good and the bad. Very exciting. Daily Reflection.
I wouldn't mind some
Brad,
pancakes.
you can read it.
I got this. I got this. Daily Reflapjacks, as old Jimmy boy would say. The good and the bad. My creator, I am willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. AA page 76.
Get in there. I know, Will. I know.
The joy of life is in the giving, being freed from our shortcomings.
Oh my God.
That I may more freely be of service allows humility to grow in me. My shortcomings don't make me laugh, can be humbly placed in God's loving care and be removed.
Oh.
The essence of step 7 is humility, and what better way to seek humility than by giving all of myself, good and bad, to God, so that he may remove the bad and return me to the good. There you have it, folks.
We say a lot that, like, and also with you, my son. We say a lot about, what do we say? Like recovery. We say stuff about recovery, and like when we recover, like we get better. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Where did Larry go?
Let's see. I don't know. I told him to reconnect, but he hasn't yet.
He'll be back.
Let's see. I got a lot of people that ask me, right? They're like, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like, that's a great fucking question. I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
That's okay though.
Brad noticed the other day that my hand was going numb. I'm a level 8 right now. I'm in pain. I'm in numb. I'm angry. It's all that. So
if you're numb, how are you in pain?
It's I can be numb somewhere and in pain somewhere else. So
it was a question because I had somebody in my family was like they're like, oh, I'm so numb, it hurts. I'm like, how does it hurt?
I know. Someone once said to me, oh, I forgot how traumatic that was. And I'm like, you forgot how traumatic it was. It can't be too bad. But anyway, not to minimize their trauma. But so the reason I don't take on a lot of work, a lot of people ask me to do work for them. And unless it's recovery based, I don't do it. But I don't make any money at this for a couple of reasons. I don't want to. Number 2, I am claiming for disability, and I really can't work a job. So doing this podcast kind of keeps me going. It's good for me. People want to know, like, how did you figure all that shit out? I used to make graphics professionally as a thing. So I thought this was funny. This is 30 seconds. 12 years.
You just want attention.
So this is a Timmy highlight reel. I worked in professional sports for over a decade, making graphics for pro sports teams and scoreboards. And this is the shitty stuff I made 10, 15 years ago. All right, the gap has been bridged. Larry is back. All right, Larry, welcome to the program. Can you hear me, Larry?
I can hear you now.
Beautiful. Now we're rolling. It just happened. It's not even you, Larry. It's StreamYard. It's like fucking 100%. Ridiculous. Not you. Well, welcome to the team. That's a great way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So anyway,
can I touch on one thing first, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not.
So Larry, like, and I guess my biggest memory and the biggest thing that I'm thankful to have Larry in my life for is about that mental awareness thing. So I shouldn't say the easy part is knowing that I'm an alcoholic addict. I mean, hello, that was a given. But once I realized that I had to figure out stuff in my own head, like Larry said, so, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, like, so Larry was 27 years as a dry drunk, right? And a lot of people, I think, do that stuff. So now that we break that stigma and talk about mental awareness, you know, especially as a male, like, you know, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but like, yeah, me big and tough, I don't want to tell you my problems. But once I got over that part and had no problem telling, you know, figuring out my defects and my shortcomings and all that type of thing, you know, and I'm still working on it today, but I know I have to work on it. That's the thing. That's the key right there. So before I never thought about it, but I need to know as an addict and alcoholic, and not even an addict and alcoholic. Everybody has some stuff they gotta tweak out, figure some stuff out. But now that I know that I have to continue to work on something, and again, in 2 years, I might find another issue. I'm sure I will.
I have
right?
I have a question for you, Brad.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question? So what if you somewhere down the road you feel a new thing? You in sobriety you feel, I don't know, we'll say depression or maybe panic attacks or crippling anxiety. Would you be open to maybe you need to take it a step further and go see a doctor or something like that if that happened?
So again, I can't predict or can say what I will do.
I'm playing a game,
but what I'm going to say is I feel I have, this is how I feel right now at this given moment, that I have enough tools, I have enough education, I have enough information that I can reach out to whatever resource I might need at that time. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? So again, I don't know what it'll be, but if I needed to see a doctor, absolutely. I do know this about myself now. I know my very, very, very first step, and this is true right from the bottom of the heart. If I'm having an issue of whatever it may be, depression, anxiety, you know, a relapse, or you know, whatever it may be, I know my first step is to reach out to somebody that I know that is close to me and cares. So that would be step one for Brad. Right off the get.
I was asking a hypothetical because I just feel like the Brad that I met almost a year ago to now is different. He's learned so much. He puts himself down a lot, but he is extremely intelligent, and he's soaking shit up like a fucking sponge. And he's taking that and he's making a mess everywhere he goes. But he is such a good resource. And so I just thought in my head, I don't know, shit goes bad, you know, would Brad, you know, I hate hypotheticals, but I just bet you would handle it right. Is my fucking point. My point is I bet you would handle it right.
I like to think I would, and that's about the best answer I can. Right now, mentally in my head, I actually feel stronger than I ever have in my whole life, right? Like I said, so again, I'm not going to go back to beat the dead horse or whatever, but I have some stuff going on right now. But I'm thankful that I'm in recovery because I have a stronger frame of mind now than I did 3.5 years ago. Again, am I 100% full strength? And I probably never will be. But I have tools and I have information and I have great people in my sobriety that I can lean on. So for me, going back to all that, that's what this is about. Is let Brad finally open the door to let other people in, and I can reach out to Larry, and I have over the years, and Tim, I've reached out to you and my podcast guys and other people in my program. I would have never done that before. You know what I mean? I would never call somebody, and I've even said this on the show, Tim, that I do struggle sometimes with anxiety. People don't see that about Brad because I'm like, haha.
I know.
But I have talked about. Right, but I do, but I'm really good at that. But I have talked about that on the show, and I never would have done that before. You know,
sometimes all you gotta do is talk about it. Most times,
to me, it is the solution.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I've been to a place where I know that like everything I'm on, everything that I've done, everything I'm doing is what keeps Tim sober. So I'm gonna keep doing that. You know, I know I benefited from.
What kind of pizza is that?
Like, it's your pie, Will. You know that shitty fucking.
I know, but what flavor is it? Because I'm just hungry. That's
Honey Barrio. This is the Tim Eats Pizza segment.
So I gotta
Right? I mean, like, I eat pretzels, but dang, I'm hungry. I'm
so
hungry.
I wanted to touch on what you said too. So like
We go touching again.
I'm a toucher. I'm a
Lot of
toucher.
touching.
Yeah,
Touchy
yeah.
feely. Yep.
Maybe I should be at corrections, Jimmy. Yeah, anyway. Anyway, so what you said, Tim, what you said earlier about like, you know, how you seen me grow a little bit or whatever in the last year or so, whatever time I've been on the podcast. So right there, again, to me, is recovery's definition. That's how I take that. Because if I am not growing and learning new things and so here we are on step 7, right? So that's humility. Like that's being humble. That's humility to me. Because now at one time, if somebody told me that or whatever, I'd be like, why did they say that, them assholes? What's the reason behind that? So my perspective on things now, again, I don't have it quite dialed in, but I know I'm a better spot than I was. So I've learned things about
head out there.
but I've learned things about addiction that I was stubborn against, ignorant against, and all. Like so, for me, I did think this. You guys,
you were against.
well, I was because I used to think this. Well, if
That's
you're
how they
a,
say that. Will, that's how they say against. They say against, and they
I know,
say.
I'm sorry, I was just messing with him, but he didn't even.
Yeah.
and that's totally fine, right? Steve, again, perspective. I'm okay with that.
Sorry, Steve.
But what I was going to say is I've learned things about the medical side of addiction that I never actually. So I was stubborn. Like so, I'm like, why does someone take drugs to try to get sober? Like I was that guy. That guy. And so I'm learning now that just because I don't doesn't mean somebody doesn't need of assistance of some sort. So if I'm not open-minded and I'm not willing to listen to what other people have to say, just because it's Brad's way doesn't fucking mean it's wrong, right? So I had to get that out of my head. And so I've learned that in my recovery because again, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, baby, right? So my perspective on life and other, you know, I listen to what everybody has to say because I can take something out of it no matter what. So thank you, recovery, for that.
Bethany's cool. She's a good. We should make her like our director of some shit.
BB in the house.
She knows her shit.
That doesn't sound right.
This brings so much education, knowledge, lived experience. She had a show this morning. You know what? I gotta wake up. I gotta fucking wake up. I guess I
That takes about 8 hours to wake up.
It does not work well for me. So I had the podcast, right, Beth? Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. This pizza's so fucking hot. I don't know who.
Better take some heartburn medication. Let me tell you what.
I do. I take a Meprazole twice a day. Thanks, Will. This is gonna blow right through that. Listen, like Brad, I wouldn't suggest going to Philadelphia and letting Juan shoot you in the neck with heroin and shit. If you do,
thank you.
If you do that, you may need some extra stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you go down that road, I got some advice for you because
really imbalanced.
they say a whole thing: walk 20 miles into the woods. You got to walk 20 miles back out. I always hated that. It sounds daunting when you start it. Yeah, well,
don't be shy, Willie.
I was gonna say at least you wouldn't feel it on the way back out.
So
I said it was bad to say. I shouldn't say it. That's what I'm saying.
Bethany's, it's not your fault. Bethany said we're changing the day and time soon to Tuesdays at 7 p.m. next month is our goal. Yep, we'll help you.
Come on, prime time.
Let us help you.
You're doing a great job over there, Bethany. Too.
Doing a great job. I can't play all 16 seconds of this, but I can play a couple.
And it's fun. And so there's another thing, Bethany. I want to thank you personally too, because I opened up about what was going on in my life there last episode or episode before, sorry. And Bethany shared it on her rock bottom, right? You know what I mean? And it was like letting me know that she's there for me, right? So again, like
Brian.
Yeah,
but it says thank you, Brad.
I love you, BB. That was very thoughtful, and I appreciate that because there you go.
And there are barflies, and there are people who get in there, and we have a little community of people. I don't care if it's bigger, I don't care if it's smaller. We're gonna keep doing this. This is really the only fucking thing I'm good at in this world, so I'm just gonna keep doing it, whether people listen or watch or not. But there's such a need for this. Like, god damn, there's nothing funny. I want to laugh. Like I want to laugh. That
Why can't we? We're in
We
recovery. We're having
and
fun.
we do. I mean, it's shit's serious, and there's stuff.
Timmy's easy to laugh at.
Will laughs at me even when I'm not trying to be funny, especially when I'm not trying to be funny. So like we have to get to the spot where we had a laugh, but we dealt with the issue.
Way. I have a different perspective.
I know. You're nuts. So like that's you. But like we bring Larry in. Larry has a perspective of Larry, you how long ago were you like actively counseling patients at Prairie Sky? Like how long has it been since?
2 months.
A couple of months, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was done the 1st of June.
Okay, and is that when they flipped over?
Yeah.
Okay, good on them. I mean, I want to see him grow. I just it's so complicated the recovery medical landscape these days.
Yeah.
We have rehabs watching. I didn't announce them tonight. Welcome everybody. Let me just think if I can think of a couple of big ones. Discover Recovery, Liftoff, Pocono Mountain. That's Sober Living in Lakewood. Prairie Sky. Just people that are sitting in treatment right now, Larry, like so many people have heard what Larry has to say at day 25 or whatever they're at. Like what do you have to tell them? They're trying to figure this shit out. They're confused and they're listening to this.
I think the most important thing somebody early in recovery, somebody sitting in treatment right now, needs to know is that only 15% of your problem is the fact that you used and abused drugs and alcohol. The other 85% is the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of addiction. That's what you have to work on. And 85%. Realize that when we talk, and we talked a couple days ago about relapse, somebody was talking about relapse. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've noticed when I deal with people is if you surround yourself with like-minded people, if you have a recovery team, if you have people that understand what you're going through, and you relapse or you slip, the only one that's disappointed is you.
Yeah.
What you've got to remember is, and it's the old adage in the 12-step, in the AA thing about practicing the principles. It's progress rather than perfection. Right. And as long as if you go out, when you're out there and you make a mistake, as long as you learn from your mistake and keep moving, you're complying with everything that the programs want you to do.
Yeah.
Progress rather than perfection. You're never going to be perfect.
I know we need rules, we need constructs, and especially addicts like day 40 in a sober house. You need rules, right? I get all that, but my God, that life for me was if you screw up, you don't have a bed that night, and it was a bad thing, and you lose your time.
If you screw up, you go to jail.
I know, or that. But I'm talking more like it's just you just can't you hide it to your detriment. You know what I mean? Where you could when you could just say. I tell all our guys that work on the show, I say, listen, if you relapse, come to me, come to us collectively, so we can just talk about it, and we can either just put it in a drawer, put it away. But like, we get so worked up over time. Oh my God, I'll lose my 45 days, and like all this fucking shit, and we just get so wrapped up in that shit. But like it's like almost not safe to say I relapsed. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for a lot of people, and like that's kind of the landscape we're in, and like. People are gonna, but like it's tough. It's really hard. That recovery circuit.
Claim it.
Well, I heard you.
Well, the thing about it that I look at is when we relapse is an inside job. You do it to yourself. But we relapse emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually first. Mm-hmm. Long before we ever take a drink, there is so much time between the time you mentally slip and the time you actually take a drink. There's so many times and places where you can interrupt that whole process.
Yeah.
And the first thing...
I was thinking...
We turn
Sorry,
a
to
slip.
interrupt you, but I was
We
thinking,
turn a
like,
slip into a
imagine,
fall.
like, so when you're on the way to get your drugs and you start getting, the bubble gut, everything. So imagine if you just extended that even longer. So you have that that mental relapse, like way
Vacation.
before. So I mean, like, you're good, you're doing good, but you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had that same feeling just building up.
The
So
outside don't match
don't
the
try.
inside.
Yeah.
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 Right.
And you get
That's just what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
and one of the things people don't realize is the first thing we lose when we're on that trail is our spiritual contact, our contact with our higher power. Because we start thinking in our will and not his.
Right.
And
So
that's what we have to look at is, okay, there's so many places. Ask yourself, what is it that makes you think having a drink is a viable option to what's going on in your life?
Right.
What is it?
Right.
Is it your value and worth as a human being? These are the things we have to look at. A relapse is so much more than physically drinking or doing drugs.
Right.
And that's where we, as advocates of our mental health, that's where we can direct people, is you relapse mentally first, long before you ever drink. Nip it in the ass then.
Slip before the fall. And I agree so 100%, which is why I do this show. But like we fucking, we make everything such a big deal. Like if we get, all right, you did heroin last night. Okay. Do you have any more heroin? You do. Can you flush that? And can you not do any more heroin tonight and just not turn a slip into a fall? Like I've seen so many slips turn into unnecessary falls, either with me or with somebody I've seen. And like, not to say people can get away with shit, but like, fuck, man. There was a guy, Larry. There was a guy I knew, ran a sober living, that if you relapsed, he would hold your bed for 30 days while you went to treatment. And like he didn't make a lot of money, and that's probably why. But like he would do that. He would hold your bed for 30 days. And like, you know what? Not that it made it safe to relapse, because his little recovery community had a good conducive recovery thing going on. It wasn't like it was safe to relapse. It was just, it was safe to tell somebody about it and nip it in the bud, like Larry said. And it's so arrestable. But if you just let it get out of control a little bit too far, it's a wildfire.
And another thing about relapse too, this is just my thoughts, and tell me if I'm right or wrong. This is how I think about it. Like, so if somebody does have a relapse, I think the first thing that goes through somebody's head, and this is just my assumption, is that they're worried about what everybody else is going to think. And they're worried about how they fucked up and how embarrassed they're going to be. You know what?
There, buddy.
Yes. But you know what? This is how I look at that. You know what's more embarrassing and more shameful? If you continue to keep going.
Yeah.
So
not a good look.
That's what I mean. So I use that even in my sobriety
only
today.
In your eyes.
Well, there's a lot of things weird in my eyes, but I'm okay with that. So early in my recovery, I remember somebody saying to me, I was probably about a year sober at that time, and somebody said, well, aren't you embarrassed? And like, weren't you embarrassed to go to rehab and, go to your AA meetings and do all that? I said, not at all. It'd be way more embarrassing if I was still fucking doing the same thing I was a year ago. That'd be way more embarrassing.
You know what? I never thought about. I've thought about that more since you said that, and it does make it hits a lot closer home than I think about that more than you think. I mean, more than I thought about it. But I mean, like, what if I was still doing that same shit? I mean,
pick your evils or whatever you want to call it. Like, so what? Right? So I'm way more proud to recover out loud than I would be way more embarrassed if I was still fucking putting a straw in my nose. I'll put it that way. Like, I'm happiest. I don't know. So just keep that in mind, viewers, too. So if relapse does happen, and it is what it is, but remember, you've got the tools, you got the education, and you know what you got to do. So just jump on that horse and get bucking, baby, because it is what it is. Right?
I mean, people are going to relapse regardless. Just or just stop it at one.
Expensive it is to live that low.
No kidding, right? Exactly. It's a full-time job. So like, let's not let relapse.
Nothing from it.
Nothing from it. Have somebody you can. I tell the guys, and because we're each other's support, we're allowed to. If you relapse, You know,
What'd you
whatever.
say?
Just tell us. Just come to the. Just so we
Yeah.
all know, and we'll just take a day off. That's all. We're not looking to fucking advertise it. It's just please don't make it 2 days. Please don't turn into a week. Please don't turn into a month
Yeah.
because we've all been there.
You know, I
But if it
think
does, still here.
sometimes,
Right? Exactly.
like understanding what you're going to do if you do relapse is not an invitation to go.
It's not.
Just because you got a life jacket doesn't mean you're going to jump out of your boat. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, or they have limited themselves, is addiction is a terminal disease. No different than cancer, no different than diabetes, no different than heart disease, COPD. By the way, those are all the ones that I deal with on a daily basis. So when we relapse and we beat the shit out of ourselves, what do you do when a friend of yours walks up and said, I'm no longer type 2, I'm type 1 diabetes, I got to take the needle now? What do you say to them?
Right.
You're
What
not
do you say
you're not angry at him. You're there to help them.
You're
Right.
compassionate. And
Yeah,
that's
my
the
mind was
thing
somewhere
that's
different.
missing out of an awful
Yeah.
lot of the stuff about relapse is people are not compassionate towards the individual, and he isn't or she isn't self-compassionate towards themselves.
Larry, when we started, you
Well
said shame.
said.
You said shame. Well said. And I have to go right. Yeah, like you. He makes a point, man. You said shame. You said shame was a big thing, and like we always talk about shame. What's the difference between guilt and shame? I'll let you answer that. What the difference is?
The difference between guilt and shame. Guilt is you've done something wrong. Shame is you are what's wrong.
Right.
Shame is the only emotion that will allow you to take your own life as a result of what's going on.
Right.
If you're guilty, you'll just be embarrassed. Shame is intergenerational. It's taught to whole families. Like mine, like my mom's side of the family, 3 generations of shame-based, and they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it's just how they were raised. It's how it was. And until we learn that, shame is the number one offender when it comes to relapse.
Yep.
Because something happens and we do something wrong and we become ashamed of who we are and what we've done. And we start dealing with it in that way. The first thing we say is, I'm not worth it anyway. Who would give a fat rat's ass if I did it?
Right.
And away you go.
We
It's
are
deadly.
We're making decisions on false pretenses. We're not. We don't know what we are, and that's what we're. And when you do drugs, you're making decisions under false
Off
pretenses.
of emotions.
Right. You're not even making decisions. It's running you. So
That's why
like
they say don't make major decisions. That you're
I
after,
actually
recovery.
and so one of my dear friends that I go to AA meetings with, I won't say his name just because, but he's one of them guys. Like people say things that it might be like a quick sentence or whatever, and it's like, I needed to hear that. So I remember going to a meeting one time and I was talking about how I was pissed off for this reason or whatever, and all he said to me just kind of sat back and he's like, "You think that's the main event?"
the main event.
I'm like, what do you mean by that? It took me a minute. And he's like,
welcome, brother.
well, yeah, no, but at that point, like, what led me to where I was at that given moment? What triggered my emotions? You know what I mean? So I was focusing on what was right ahead of me. Why I was pissed off at Jimmy. I'm just making it up, Jimmy. I'm not pissed off at you. I'm just making something up. Like pissed off at somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And I didn't know why. But what led me up to that? So as soon as he said, "Well, is this really the main event?" It kind of took me back, right? Because that's a good thing in my recovery. Because then I thought about, okay, well, what happened?
Pattern recognition.
Exactly. What led me to where I am right now? Like, am I jealous? Am I scared? Am I angry? Like, you know what I mean? What got me to where I'm at, right? So that's part of the recovery journey that I'm on, right? So I'm trying to understand myself more and more as I go. And again, work in progress, but I think I'm better off than I was before, right?
It never stops.
Yeah.
I've been doing this. For the past 14 years, I've been working in the mental health aspects of addiction. And my finding out things about myself continue on a daily basis. Continue. When I stop learning about myself, it's time for the dirt bath.
Dunzo.
The dirt bath.
They're not a student anymore. Then it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well said, Will. Yeah.
And the amazing thing about a lot of that is we get into stress. We get into doing things as a result of a mistake that we've made.
Right.
It's never going to be healthy.
Jimmy says his addiction talks to him in his own voice.
Yeah, I love that.
When we make decisions based on our mistakes, those decisions are not going to turn out well.
Right.
And that's the first thing we do. When we start concentrating on your mistakes, switch it around. Start being compassionate.
Right.
Start to understand yourself a little bit better, because I don't know about you guys, but it was a long time before I ever acknowledged the fact that I have done positive things in my life.
It's hard. We don't take compliments well. You said that last episode you were here. I watched it, and that is
saying that today. We really don't.
We don't. And that but Larry said is that's a sign of something deeper. It's not just a compliment. It's not it's a sign of something deeper, something internal that we
as a child.
So whatever it is, we all got a story, but so
there's another example. When I was in Prairie Sky Recovery, that was one of the things
say prison.
That's a different story. But when I was in Prairie Sky, one of the things that one of my counselors did for me is we did that positive negative thing. And I wrote down what things were negative about me, and I wrote down things that were positive. So I had a list like this that stuff was negative, and I had a list like that was positive. I'm like, oh, I'm funny. I think that was my positive thing. But you know what the funny thing? But you know what's funny now? If you were to ask me to write a list, that list it would be more balanced now, right?
Sure it would be.
Like so, week 5, week 3, whatever in my recovery, I'm like, oh, I'm an asshole. I'm a cheater. I'm a drunk. I'm a dead. What do you like about yourself? I'm funny. Well, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? But now it's funny because that balance has shifted. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you know, I am compassionate. I do have empathy for people. I am a caring person, you know, and I never used to be able to say that shit. Right.
Sure.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Hey, Larry, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard, have you heard of the book MRT? Escaping your prison, your mental prison, you have to do it if you're in prison and if you're in our stat in the United States.
Oh no, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, so it's called MRT, and so I had to do it. So I was in drug court in Georgia here, and so we did it. As a phase 2, when you're in phase 2 of drug court, there's 5 phases. I mean, you got you had to do it. It's an MRT book. It's a workbook. And they'll give it to people in prison. In other words, escaping your mental prison is what it is. And like when I was saying earlier, I remember I think it was like I forgot. I think like section 30. There's like 12 I think different sections. You do one each week, and you got to present them in your class. But one is a list of write out all the things you can control and what you can't control. And then like I remember our counselor was like, okay, let's talk about what you can control. And then he started going through what you can't control. And he's like, so why are you worried about something you can't control? Like why? He's like, you know, that was why. That's where I got is when you try. How do you try? When you try, you don't do. So either you do or you don't. You don't try. So don't say I try. So you take try out of your vocabulary. You did or you didn't. So that's why I love it when people say try. I'm like, oh, I can't do this because I used to. Right. It's like how do you try? How do you try to pick up a book off the floor? You do or you don't. You know.
You do or you don't. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I digress.
So what's it called? MRT? Does that stand for something?
And actually, he was supposed to be. Like, they were revising it when I was back there in drug court, like in 2013, and he said that his name, like he helped to redo it. He was getting his doctorate, I think, at the time, but I think his name, he was helping rewrite it or whatever. But,
so, Will, did it help you? What was your experience?
I mean, like, there's things in the worst situations in your life when you have to go some shit. Like drug court, like terrible. Even though you don't learn, I mean, like how you can. I mean, like it was the worst time of my life. Surprised it didn't kill me, but you know, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Everything is like that. Are those crickets behind you?
Inevitable. I mean, it didn't have to be part of our story. I know. Yeah. Right. But it was then. I'm a chronic relapser, or was. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
So therefore, But when
these
I did
days.
relapse, guess what? I was more self-aware and more so, than
Mhm.
what I was before. Just like I said prior, y'all think I'm crazy, and people think I'm crazy when I'm like, when I received the diagnosis of HIV, guess what? That's when I started taking care of myself. Like, I mean, I never would have before. I started,
Necessity is the mother of invention.
that was
Yeah.
when everything turned around, and it was like I started giving a shit about my body and myself and what I was putting in it. Even even if it was still bad, I would be, whatever. But
Right.
I'm just saying, I would have probably already been dead by now if I hadn't got. I mean, I'm not saying I'm
Yep.
happy I got it by any means. I'm just saying it was,
It
shit
But
happens,
but
but blessings
and
happen in the shittiest way.
yes. So you saying that right there, Will, to me, what I take from that whole saying is no matter what kind of negativity may
There's
come
always
at you,
positive.
there's
Always.
positive to come out of it.
Always. And if
sure.
Right?
that's the person. If you're looking for the negative, then bye.
Yeah.
You have no
Yeah.
hope.
Right.
But if you see the positive, then you see there's a way.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So
just
Right.
gotta
what
find one positive, and you can turn that one into multiple. A
and
We are,
plethora.
and what
we're
you
hope.
just said there is very inspirational, Will, and I mean that because you're
Thank
right.
you.
You got thrown a shit sandwich, we'll say, but you found the positive out of it
You found
to
that good
turn.
piece of bacon on it.
Yeah, but you
Nom, nom,
turned,
nom, 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 nom,
but
nom.
you used it for a positive energy. So there
It's a
you go.
lesson.
That's
It's a lesson if you let it be.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly,
But
buddy.
you gotta
So,
let it
but
be.
but hindsight is 2020. So going
Let
through
it
these things,
be. Let
let it be. Um,
it be.
so, but you go through these things and you look back and you're like, God, I remember when it started. It seemed insurmountable. It seemed like a mountain I'd never get past. And then you go up the mountain, come down the mountain, you look back and you're like, holy shit. I remember when it started, when I summited, and when I descended. And the whole thing makes sense now. But that's clarity that comes with experience
Or
and
even when
and
you can
and
identify it, at least identify
or
it.
at
At least
least
that's
that,
that.
like, and that's what Brad was talking about, mental
But that's like
awareness
for that
and
name it. You gotta name what you're going through. You gotta
name
tell
it,
people
tame it,
exactly where you're at.
and
When
claim
you
it.
want to tell people where you're at, you gotta give them directions. You gotta tell them what corner you're on.
Yep. Well,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I don't work in
How's somebody
corners
supposed to come
anymore.
get you and meet you, and how's somebody supposed to help you if they don't know where you're at?
I try to stay
I
away
know
from
what
the
corner I'm
corners, but
on.
yeah, at least I could see. At least it's daylight on my corner. It's not great.
I
Things aren't perfect, but
maybe
like
under your street light.
things are hard. We got to recognize Charlotte Wells. She hit 30 months.
Yes, Charlotte.
She's doing well.
Good for you.
At a girl,
That was a
Charlotte.
big
Very
slapper.
proud of you. We're all very
That was a big
happy.
slapper.
30 months is exactly 2.5 years. I had to look that up. I mean, that's what that
Dirty
means.
and dirty. Keep it.
30 and dirty. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tina C, all that. So like I want to pivot. I want to have a shut up. Have, a short, just a team conversation. Don't worry about the cameras or the
Mean
millions
Girls.
of people watching and all that. What would you guys like to see out of the four of us, or the five of us, really, when Jimmy's here?
Six. Just the six of us.
Like we can keep it light. We can do topics. We can, we can
We're gonna
check
get in there.
my moles, see if they're cancerous. You do whatever you want. We could do stuff. I could eat pizza as a segment the entire
But you gotta
time.
send everybody a slice. You can't just be greedy like that.
Oh well,
So it's like you better get to working.
Brad, Larry.
I would like to see topics. I would like to see, like, once a month, walk in with a prearranged topic.
Yep.
And hopefully, if it would be possible to basically maybe interact with somebody listening,
Yep.
like the questions and answers about it. Like, I think that would be phenomenal. The amount of information that you can dispense from this avenue, this particular platform, is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
I love topics and slides and all that stuff. I love being organized. Yeah, absolutely. We can. I mean, we can. The amount of information that's recorded and saved in the hour and 25 minutes we do this show is. We try to make sure it's concise and it's there. Like you can hit pause. You can hit pause and read something that you didn't know. So like. Yep. Absolutely. We can do questions. We can do whatever you want. So what we'll do internally is start a dialogue amongst the five of us and work on monthly topics. But this was just really an introduction just to get you in the mix and tell everybody you're coming in. And, everybody's really excited about this. And it's cool. You're the man. And, I know you got some time in your hands. We're here.
He's a beauty.
Yeah, I didn't. We're not bringing you on for face, although he has a beauty. We bring him and Elizabeth on. We bring them on to keep us in our lane, to keep us in check. And we trust Larry. We'll figure it out as we go forward. But we all want the same thing, and that's great for people who don't think they can get it. So
Yeah.
Larry, thank you so much for coming on. You're not done. I'm just saying thanks out loud. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing.
This is something that, like I said earlier, this would have never been on the radar. This is that door that's been opened for me.
We all say the same thing.
Agreed.
I just sit back. I'm in complete awe because my my high school reunion, my 50-year high school reunion, took place about a month and a half ago, and we were saying what we were doing, and they asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I retired. I did this and I did that. And I said, and I found something I think I'm really good at, and I'm carrying on with that. And one of the people said, and what is that? So we had two of our teachers were there.
Yeah.
And I said, I facilitate, I develop programming, and I counsel in a drug and alcohol rehab center. And there was at least two sets of eyes that were this big.
Absolutely.
Hit home, huh?
Because I was the guy sitting at the back of the classroom stabbing people with a divider out of my geometry set.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be well.
See what you can do now, Larry, is direct them to trash-podcast.com and say, hey, look at me, look what a big shot I am. Here I am on their website as part of the team next to it. 42.
Well, every time I come on, I put it into my class reunion website. They get a look at it. So I'm not sure how many of them will stick their nose in, but there are a couple of them that are in recovery.
Always. I mean, our people, that's probably people just don't, they don't own it. But yeah, 30 months for Charlotte. We're excited. We'll do topics. We'll have it set up. It'll be great. I think it's going to be fantastic. Boys, what do you think?
I'm very happy to have Larry part of this team.
Keep him?
He's a keeper.
Let's take a look at our.
Well, you already signed the paperwork, so it's too late.
He's signed. He can't do nothing about it. All right, let's take a look at our upcoming guests. Bradley, go.
So obviously today on the 22nd we had the old Lair dog on. July, I can't see that because I think it says 26.
We know that's right.
Yep.
Dustin B. July 29th, we have Mark Condon.
Thought it was Condon.
No, it's Condon. And August 2nd, we have Tommy Wilkes.
Tommy.
And August 5th, Tommy Wilkes, I think it is. Am I saying it right?
You did it. Yep, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, you remember him?
I don't.
Yeah, me and Will's friend.
So he used to be part of the team, I guess, back in the day.
Yep. He was a host he was a host. Yeah, word. Yeah. Always. No, he was a host for a hot minute, and then he outgrew us.
That's fair. So August 5th, we have Nick Robinson. August 9th, we have Blair Stepp. August 12th, we have Phyllis
Klaber.
Yep. And then August 23rd, we have our other special guest that's part of the team.
Elizabeth McKeon. Yep. Rock Bottom Revival. I have faith in them. I just do. And I'm gonna make sure they're successful. I do. Yep. All right. What else do we have going on around here?
Recovery centers?
Recovery centers. I announced them earlier, Brad.
Okay, so I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Brad, wink, wink.
Yeah, the main ones are.
I'm working on my listening here, Stelly.
How you doing? Good.
Not working out for you.
Good. So Jimmy, shout out to our boy. He is doing service work. We do. We absolutely love him. He's a gem.
So I want to touch on that too. Jimmy does, and I know the viewers probably know this, he literally, in my eyes, is one of the pillars in my recovery because he does more for people in service and all that other stuff than he even gives himself credit for. Do you know what I mean? Like that man takes recovery so goddamn serious and he helps so many people. So Jimmy, We fucking love you, buddy. Keep doing what you're doing because you're smashing out of the park. I love you.
Get it.
True story.
Way to go, Jim. True story, yeah.
Which part?
Jimmy, listen, Jimmy is the reason this show still exists. And he's, you know, he keeps himself, we all do in recovery. It's self-deprecation, whatever it is, just to, I don't know what that is. Maybe we can unpack that someday. But, yeah, we just don't want to give ourselves any credit. And we don't want to say, hey, it's a good day today, in fear that will make today fall apart. And as addicts, that's how we are. We're so afraid to enjoy a compliment that we shut it down before we can even be given it. So that's what we need Larry for, to kind of figure out how we work from someone who knows. And that's why we need Liz, someone who knows the clinical side of it, and not us. We're not clinical. We don't know. So
that's my look daily.
Yeah, that's yours.
Listen, I was saying, as long as you have a recovery plan in your back pocket, it's like a condom. It's always there if you need it.
It's like Mark Condom when we come up here.
Condom.
I didn't get a vasectomy to wear a condom, Will. All right, let's read our just for today.
In closing here on Talkin Trash podcast, we read an NA traditional reading called Just for Today.
All right, just for today is called Accepting Life as It Is. Just for today. Go ahead, Willie boy.
Just for today, accepting life as it is. Basic text page 90. Drugs used to buffer us from the full force of life. When we stop using drugs and enter recovery, we find ourselves confronted directly with life. We may experience disappointment, frustration, or anger. Events may not happen when we want them to. The self-centeredness we cultivated in our addiction has distorted our perceptions of life. It is difficult to let go of our expectations and accept life as it is. We learn to accept our lives by working the 12 steps on Narcotics Anonymous. We discover how to change our attitudes and let go of character defects. We no longer need to distort the truth or run from our situations. The more we practice the spiritual principles contained in the steps, the easier it becomes to accept the life exactly as it comes to us. Just for today, I will practice self-acceptance by practicing the 12 steps: drinking caffeine, vaping or smoking nicotine, and pounding Red Bulls and Monsters too.
Sometimes you gotta pump the brakes and not read what I put, but yeah, that one you were
know
safe
that's not gonna happen.
One. I know.
All right.
If you're feeling some type of way, 988.
And you just pound it in.
Call it, pound it in. If Narcan saves people's lives, apparently it takes like 7 these days.
You can be the hero.
If you're new in the recovery, or if you're in a sober living, or you're sitting in one of those chairs, pull out your phone when you get it. Get Meeting Finder or NA Meeting Search there, or count your days. There's all kinds of shit you can do out there. But thank you, Larry Foster, for hanging out with us for a little bit. What an absolute badass. What a start of something beautiful. I know it's going to be great. Next month,
knock your booty.
I already scheduled you. I don't know if that was all right or not. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for making us possible.